Hey, can everybody see me all right? Do I have audio? It's been a minute since I've done a video, so thought I'd kick off the summer by doing a quick live chat to see how everyone's doing and to answer any questions you might have and to discuss some of the new projects I'm going to be looking into in July and August. Hopefully I can make this live stream thing a monthly thing. So far, it looks like I've been doing it on Sundays, so maybe that'll become a routine. Maybe every Sunday, maybe, I don't know, first or second Sunday of the month, kind of working out what I'm going to be doing there. So, anyway, how are we all doing today? So, one of the things I'm going to be working on next is something I haven't done in a while, which is powder coating. I've actually had a lot of requests for powder coating. So I am going to be looking into doing some powder coating on the CX500. I think that could be pretty cool. It's something that's kind of new to me, and like I said, I haven't done it in a while. So I think it'd be cool to do a couple of videos on how to do some powder coating. Actually, before I get into that, I actually have a lot of questions that I haven't answered in a while, so let's kick this off with some questions. How about that? So since the last live stream, we've had a few questions come in, and let me click over to them here. So one question was about putting the GSX forks on the CX500. Yeah, that's definitely something I've looked into. It's a pretty big transition, and it would keep the bike offline for a while, so I'll probably look into doing GSX forks in the off season. I mean, I'm in the Midwest, so there's a pretty good off season, between December and February to totally disable the bike to put front forks on it and do the entire brake upgrade and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's kind of a big project. Definitely something I'm interested in. Am I on the CX500 forum? I'm assuming that you mean CX500forum.com. I am. I visit it pretty regularly. I don't really contribute a lot of comments, but what I do is keep up on other people's projects and use it for research. It's a really great source for research, so I recommend that. What type of seat am I using? So, let's see. The seat on the CX500, the brown seat there, came with the BBCR engineering kit. It's a brown cafe seat. I imagine it's probably something you could pick up on Amazon or eBay or something like that. It's a very basic 2 or 3 bolt cafe seat. So nothing really super intricate about it. How tall am I? I'm 5'8". I don't know what that is in metric, but I'm 5'8". How many coats of paint did I put on the fender when I painted the fender? So this is from the part 8 where I cut my fender and added a new black paint to it and a couple layers of clear coat. I think I did probably 4 or 5 coats. I really put on heavy. I also primed it. So I think I did 2 coats of prime, 5 coats of black, and probably 2 or 3 coats of clear. The reason being is that the fender takes a lot of beating from road debris, and I wanted to make sure that the paint was thick enough to handle at least, small impacts from stone chips and whatever else I might run into on the road. Also, since the fender is integrated into the center of the 2 forks, it made sense to give it electric paint because it's not something that's easy to take apart and service once it's all bolted together. Am I going to do more work to Twin Star? Yeah, I am, totally. So the Twin Star is going to be a work in progress. I've got some plans for that. That's obviously my wife's bike. So the next step for us, for her anyway, is to get some new safety equipment. I've got an older helmet, but I decided I think she should get a new helmet because, you know, helmets, they age and expire. So we're going to be looking into getting her some safety equipment. I'd hate to have her ride the bike without it. So helmet, gloves, jacket, the whole 9 yards so that she can ride safely. What do you guys think about, since I'm on that topic, what do you guys think about doing any sort of reviews of accessories and safety gear? It's not really my forte, but, you know, would you want my comments on any sort of helmets or safety equipment? What handlebars did I use for the 6-500? Those are Clubman bars. Do I still own the bike? Yes, I do. So a couple things that we've been talking about on the Twin Star has been painting it possibly. And what do you guys think about that? I mean, the paint job is okay. It needs a little bit of work. So I thought about painting it and possibly making it match a helmet. If she picks out some helmet, match the coloring. I guess we'll see what happens there. But there's a potential of painting the Twin Star. I don't know what you guys thought about that. Might be kind of cool. I've also been looking into, so I guess I could talk about that. So powder coating's coming up. I'm going to do some powder coating. And then I'm going to look at putting a new gauge on the bike. The challenge there is there's a bracket that probably needs to be created to connect a new type of tachometer or new type of cluster to the Triple Tree. So I need to do a little research on that. And then I am looking at doing a updated headlight as well. I've still got the original sealed beam style headlight on there. I'd like to upgrade to LED. So that's on my list as well. I've also looked at maybe getting a different exhaust. Not totally happy with the exhaust I've got on there. I mean, it's okay. It does an okay job, but you know, the quality is, it's so-so. So other than that, maybe long-term, thinking about doing a wheel upgrade. I don't know what's out there, so looking at that as well. So looks like I got a connection problem here. Yeah, the best part about painting is instant results. That's very true. So I had a question the other day come into my inbox on YouTube about how much time I spend on each video. So, you know, the videos might be 10, 15 minutes long, but how much time is really invested in some of these videos? The answer is really, it kind of depends. The most recent cable shortening video really did take like 2 weeks, and that's actually 3. And that set of videos takes place over multiple days. So, you know, I go to work and then spend an hour on it after work, and then pull all the videos together to make one session or one video session. In other cases, things like reinstalling the motor on the bike really did take like a weekend. So that was more like one long session. Same with things like painting the wheels. those sessions really took like a day. So it does kind of depend. And for all these projects, I spend a lot of time in advance doing my homework so that I can create a complete video and I'm not stuck. Now there are some exceptions, as you can probably imagine. Some of the videos ended with me saying, this is kind of a project and things didn't go quite as expected, but that happens. But up front I try to do my homework so that I've got all my parts and everything in advance figured out, and I've got all the research done to know that what I'm about to do can actually be done. So that's kind of some advice, or I guess some feedback I can give you on the time that I invest in the projects. Actually, I could easily say that more time is invested in researching parts, how things are going to fit together, and whether or not it's actually going to work than in any other part of the project. So, the 10, 15, 20 minutes you see in a video, that might actually be 4 or 5 hours of project time, since you don't see every absolute detail of the video, but you see the best parts. But outside of that, there's probably another 8 hours or so before the video even takes place of researching parts, researching others' experiences in doing this kind of stuff, or if it's something completely new, figuring out how exactly it's going to go together. So there's quite a bit of planning that goes into these videos. That's one of those things where when somebody asks me, how much time did I spend building the bike? Well, if I just added up, straight hours in the project on actually turning wrenches and doing physical work to the bike, that would only represent about a third of the actual time invested in working on the bike. That's the thing about these projects, is so much of it is, downtime or not physical project time, doing homework and doing research. And when people ask me, if I want to do my own project, or I want to work on my bike or do something cool like what you've seen in the videos, how much time does it take? And usually my feedback is, well, don't put aside the time just work on the bike. Put aside a lot more time to do homework and know that you're going to do it right before you start taking your bike apart. I think a lot of the times that we see on Craigslist, or you see on some of the forums, when someone's got a project that's in pieces, they probably got in over their head and maybe didn't do their homework or ran into something that they should have researched, and now they've got to spend even more time and more money getting the bike back together, and they're usually just not interested, or they lose interest in the project and think it's better to just sell it off as a basket case. Which is often why I warn folks about, when they're looking to buy a bike, to steer clear of the basket cases, because those are usually projects that stalled where somebody realized they had made a mistake or had done something maybe they shouldn't have done, and you're going to be buying and spending a lot of time fixing that problem just to get the bike back on the road. And sometimes those are long, long hours of trial and error to determine that, oh yeah, they broke something, or they melted something inside the motor, or this thing is fried, or there's something busted off in the engine, or the transmission's blown up. So anyway, back to positive stuff. It's riding season, and I've had a chance to ride the bike quite a bit, and it's been running great. So all the work that I did over the winter and spring has turned out to make a pretty sound bike. So that's great. On the Twinstar, I tuned it when it was a little cooler out. Right now it's, high 80s, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And I tuned the Twinstar when it was cooler out, so I think I need to get back in and tune the carb a little bit. It seems like either it doesn't hold adjustment very well, or it's very sensitive to temperature ranges, probably plus or minus 20 degrees. So if I tuned it when it was 60 or 65 or maybe even in the 50s, now it's 80s, 90s, and tarmac temperatures probably in the hundreds. So the carbs are probably running, let me think here, they're probably running a little bit rich, I would think. So I need to get back in there and tune those a little bit. Probably won't do a video on that because you've already seen how to tune them. So real quick, tune it, and then get back on the road again. It's actually, I gotta say, the CX500 and the Twinstar are two really interestingly different bikes. I mean, obviously they're different, but the Twinstar reminds me of like a little go-kart, like a little moped, and it's a really fun little bike just to get around on. It's really cool. And the CX is a bigger bike for me even, and it's a little more of a serious ride. So I like the difference. I think there's a little bit more fun and it's almost like a scooter, the Twin Star. So pretty fun little bike. I definitely recommend it if you have an opportunity to get a small little air cooled bike like this Twin Star for a good price. They're definitely kind of fun to have. I mean, they're not nearly as high maintenance as these water cooled bikes or as the bigger bikes, and they're nice and simple. And they're just a fun little bike. It reminds me of riding dirt bikes when I was a kid. So pretty cool. Well, let's see here. How long have I been on the stream right now? I've been on here about 20 minutes, right? All right, so I just thought I'd check in, say hi to everybody, let everybody know that videos are coming, and I'm planning some cool stuff for July. Oh, question about the CX. 1 second. Do I have to change my jets with my exhaust and filter upgrades? Yes, I did. I upgraded them to, I don't remember the exact size, but I did upgrade them to probably the largest size I could put in them, and then ended up running them a little leaner. But I did have to upgrade them. The stock jets are not going to cut it when you put on those pod filters and that freer flowing exhaust. And I ended up actually having the bike idle just a slight bit higher, like 200 RPM higher, because actually I don't know why. It seemed to lag a little bit in the low end with the idle at stock. So maybe that's because it has to run richer, and you've got to have a slightly higher idle to keep the fuel flow moving through the carbs. Not an engineer, so it's just my hypothesis. All right, so I've hit 20 minutes, and thanks for watching. I am looking forward to upcoming videos. This is always the most exciting part of the year when it's warm out for me, because I can do work on the bike, put it back together, and take it out on a ride. I appreciate everyone watching, and I definitely appreciate everyone's comments and feedback. And all right, well, I'll see you next time.